Hi, I'm Brad Gilbert, and welcome to Sports School. Today, with the help of the Bryan twins, we're going to go over some basic techniques on the forehand. There are three basic grips to the forehand. The first is the one I play with. It's not exactly the modern grip. Is the continental grip. I like to refer to it as the handshake grip. It doesn't allow you for as much spin, hence why I have such a flat forehand. A couple guys that you may know also play with a continental forehand were Johnny McEnroe and Stefan Edberg. Bob, why don't you tell us about the semi-western forehand?
Semi-western is you shade over probably a quarter of an inch. I'm lefty, I'm going to shade to the left. Gives you more spin. This is the modern forehand. Most players on the tour use this grip. Guys, the new Americans, Roddick, Blake, Fish, all use this grip.
Pretty good forehands on those guys, huh?
Yeah, they're big.
And then you got the full western grip, which is for the clay courters. The object of this grip is to get your knuckles under the racket, and they want to brush up the ball. So you want to try to get a lot of spin. It's the clay course.
Hence why the clay courters like the ball up, where they can come underneath and really torque the ball, huh? It's unusual that you said Robbie Ginipri, an American, he plays with that grip.
Yeah. I mean, usually the Americans, they grow up on hard courts, so you see it semi-western and the continental.
You really feel like you can torque it most with that, huh? Not very good for the return to serve, though, huh?
No. Brick.
Bob, what do you think is the best forehand grip for the best all-around forehand?
For the all-around game, I think the semi-western is the best. You know, there's guys hitting big serves today, and returns are such a big part of the game. So I think you need to have the semi-western. You know, it gives you... It's a flat ball, but you can also spin it.
Roger Federer has a pretty good forehand. What grip does he play on the forehand?
Semi-western. You know, all the new modern players, with the exception of the Spanish players who are clay quarters and like the ball high over the net, use the modern grip, which is the semi-western.
And Mike, why do you think so few Americans play with the western grip, the full western?
It's because everyone grew up on hard court, and it's a little faster, and their object on hard court is to flatten through the ball. You want to mix it up sometimes with the spin. But the clay courters in Europe, they grew up with the full western, which is, you know, you want to try to just jump that ball up on the clay, get it.
So it's much better for the high ball than it is for low ball. That's the thing with my grip, with the continental, good for the low, but up here for the high, not so good. That's why Andre and Andy both make fun of my high forehand. It's not there's no spin. What's up, coach? No spin.
Yeah, the game is evolved past your time.
Yeah.
The continental grip's not going to cut it in today's game.
But it's a good beginning tool.
It is. It's a simple grip. You can use it for your volleys. You can use it for your forehand and backhand. You don't have to change grips. Semi-western, you have to change. You hit a forehand, and you have to shift over and switch to the backhand.
I had one grip for everything. I don't have to worry about anything. But you know what? As I'm watching you guys, I'm thinking about going over on the forehand a little bit, because you know what? You could always get better in this game, and you know what? Maybe I'll get a little spin in my old age.
That's right. You need it.
The movement to every shot is a huge factor. The better you get there, the more chances you have to do things. On a forehand, you can either get there and set up on your left leg and swing at it, or I like to do a little more open stance so I can see my opponent a little better. But both these options give you a chance to do something. But the key is when you move to the ball, you have so many more options. If you're a little lazy with your footwork, you have a lot less options, because if you get there late, maybe you can only go down the line. You can't pull the ball back cross court, or you can't really put any spin on the ball. So the early preparation, early movement to the ball is the key to a big forehand. Okay, we're going to use the Bryan twins here to hit a couple of forehands. Mike's going to hit a closed stance forehand first. Step in on this forehand. See how he's stepping in? He's looking to step in and swing through and then back up as soon as he hits it. See how he hits and then follows back through.
And his right leg is used to push off back into the court.
Using his right leg to anchor his way back. Because the one thing you don't want to do is hit and just stand in the no man's land. See how he's hitting and recovering. It's a nice forehand swing right there. All right, what do you like to do on the forehand, Bob?
Well, if I'm in a rally, I like to get down in the legs a little bit. You know, keep this position right here like a shortstop. And then when I run out to the ball, I'll set up like this for an open stance. If I get a short ball inside the court and I want to go to the net, I'll step in with my right leg, since I'm a left-hander, and just continue into the net.
Bob, will you show him the open stance, the hit and recover on the open stance? See how he's planning on his left leg there, really getting down using that, and then recovering as he's hitting. This is the more economical for the movement because you're actually hitting and recovering in the same sequence. It's harder to do this, but once you get it, it's a great swing. See how he's getting down and hitting and recovering. And at the same time, he's being able to look at his opponent the whole time. This is his big shot. He loves to slap the lefty forehand inside out. Is that your money ball?
My favorite shot.
It's my favorite shot too, except I do it with the right hand. Mine's a little uglier. Mine's more, you know, I don't do it quite as much with the knee bend, but these guys do so much more of the knee bend, which is so much better for you. You get so much more power from the legs on the forehand when you get down lower. The next element to the forehand is the unit turn. It's your gauge to where you swing to. You're trying to swing to there. The more modern players, like Roddick and Agassi, they have their hand turned a little more. They're coiled a little more, so they do like this. But for the basic beginner, to keep your left hand out as far as you can from you, your racket as far back as you can, and then swing into it. Bob, why don't you show us yours with the unit turn?
I bring my racket back to the sideways just like Roddick and Andre. They bring it back like this. The Williams sisters, I think, do a good job. What the beginner should do is keep their hand in front.
And they're two great players that do the basic swing on the forehand. It shows you that you can hit it any way. Mike, let's see your unit turn. How much you must be just like your brother as well.
Yeah, I do it exactly like Bob and some of the big foreigns out there. You see Moya, Roddick even. They plant with their feet open, so they have a strong base. And then if you had your hand like this, you wouldn't get enough turn in the shoulder, so they coil it like that. And a lot of their power comes from this motion right here, from their trunk.
But it shows you that even the Williams sisters were more old school, like Chris Everett, and then you have a lot of the young guys now doing this. So it shows you can do it either way.
Yep.
This way is the more preferable, would you say, on the Pro Tour?
Probably, yeah, just a little bit more power.
But would you say for beginners it's harder to learn this way?
Yeah, the timing. To turn like this, it's hard to get all this, all these links timed together. So if you're beginning, maybe start out with the hand pointing at the ball.
I call it kind of like your rudder. Kind of keeps your balance. The next step to the forehand is the feet spread and the head still. The feet spread is a huge part to the forehand because you never want to be too wide because then you get no power, you're off balance. And you never want to be too close together because when you're too close together, I call you get like a wedgie swing, plus you have no balance. I think if you're open stance, you want to be about 2 feet apart, a little less than a yard. And then when you're going more the closed stance, I think about the same distance. You never want to be too far, just about the nice one pace, almost one stride, so you can stride into it or slide out right this way. So you never want to be too far, too wide. And the key is the head still. Miroslav Machir, if you guys ever remember him, was a Czech player. The boys used to say in the locker room, his head was so still, you could put a book on it and it wouldn't fall off when he hit a forehand. He had the most perfect balance. His head never moved. I'm not saying everybody's going to be like that, but just think about a book on your head a little bit and think about it not coming off. Never too far apart, and think about the book on your head.